We're back with more Tapped Out with Brendan Tobin and Sean Levine on the BetQL Network.
What's good in your neighborhood? Hope you're doing well this Saturday night with Jake and Brendan. I'm the sports machine, Sean Levine. And let's bring some sense into the show and welcome on friend of the show. He is Feezy F, MMA handicapper over at Parlay Bandits. You can follow him on Twitter at Feezy F baby _. Feezy, now that we're a week away from UFC 291, BMF belts on the line. You got Alex Pereira taking on Jan Blachowicz. It's a great card. Wonder Boy fights, Kevin Holland versus Michael Chiesa, Tony Ferguson against Bobby Green. Which of those fights do you feel the best about? If somebody's going to lay down a little bit of money and they can't lose, which one do you like the best?
It breaks my heart to say it, but the Tony Ferguson fade, it really does. I just don't think he should be competing. You know, I was there live in Arizona when Chandler put his lights out, and this is something I always tell people, like on TV, you just kind of see Tony's like body there, but live he was down for a while, and it was literally like silent throughout the whole stadium. That's just something that like when I was watching, I was like, oh yeah, like this guy, he shouldn't be fighting anymore. This is like we're gonna be seeing the highlights of his downfall like in a few years on after the Gaethje fight, why it just wasn't a good idea. And you know, Green, he's still a beast, and he's hungry for that bonus. He's gonna go out there and try to put him out quick. You guys know how Green is about his money lately, and after getting screwed his last fight, he's coming for that bag, and I'm gonna collect it with him.
In the main event, Dustin Poirier and Gaethje for that BMF. I mean, such a closely contested match. We have seen it before. You know, Dustin got the best of Justin years back. Now they're doing it again. Anything about this change from the last time for you? Has it been enough time? What intrigues you the most about this one, Feezy?
Man, this one, I'm pulling my hair on this one because I honestly, some days I'm leaning Dustin, and then some days I'm leaning Gaethje. But it's all going to come down to like their own instinct. And I think when they're really at war, Justin Gaethje just kind of throws everything that he's planned out the window. And he's just like, let's kill or be killed. Versus Dustin, I've noticed when he's in that war stance, he's still fighting technically and he's still making smart decisions in just a beautiful, violent way. So this fight is tailored for a guy like Dustin, and he is a BMF. So as of now, I'm siding with Dustin unless I hear some like injury reports or he looks really rough on the scales. I'm sticking with Dustin on this one. That belt's staying at ATT.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, but I'm a sucker for Dustin, so I feel that same way. I did ask his trainer this, and I wonder if this is your concern at all. He does train down in South Florida. This is an altitude fight where Justin's used to that. Does that do anything for you late rounds? You worry about it? Now, they have taken some precautions for it. Dustin's already in Utah. He's apparently sleeping in a tent night. He's like raising his elevation each night. But I mean, it's a late adjustment to it as opposed to Justin, who's always dealing with that. So does that do anything for you late? Would you consider that maybe as the fight's going on or anything like that?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a disadvantage for him. But like you said, if he's been out there already, that means that his camp already had a strategy for this. That means that they're already taking that into account. That means that they're making the right steps to have them be ready by the time they get out and fight. So it does make me a little worrisome, but that just means that this fight is going to be incredible if it goes all 5 rounds. So if we do have to worry about that, then so be it. You know, we're going to see a great fight either way.
The numbers stayed pretty spot on since they announced the fight at BetMGM. The entire time, Gaethje's been a slight underdog. Right now, he's right around plus 105. Dustin, the slight favorite, right around minus 120. We're talking with Feezy F. He's an MMA handicapper over at Parlay Bandits. Follow him on Twitter at Feezy F baby _. Man, this entire card is stacked. Derek Lewis is on the card, taking on Marcus Rogerio de Lima. Man, you were talking about how much Tony Ferguson has left and how many more times we're going to see him in the UFC. I love me some Black Beast, but how much longer are we going to see this dude?
Man, I hope for a few more fights because I kind of think that they have like it's kind of a different perspective on those guys because Tony, I feel like it's more of a physical thing versus Lewis. it's more of a mental thing. You know, if you pay attention to like the interviews that he's had, he's always talking about feeling like super anxious before the fights. He's always talking about those type of things. And I think if they kind of slow him down like they are in competition, but kind of keep him in the apex where he kind of thrives without all that extra stuff, like the crazy fans, you know, the lead up to there, you know, it's a lot. And for a guy that kind of needs to stay focused, and if they're constantly feeding you to the top of the division, of course, it's going to like take a toll on your confidence leading up. But this match is actually a pretty good one for him. I still don't think he's going to win just because, like I said, it's still going to be a big pay-per-view. There's going to be fans all over the place. He's going to be constantly thinking, like, what if I lose this one? You know, like, what happens next? And just for a fighter to have those things in the back of their mind, I think that's the biggest handicap when it comes to fighting. So I'm unfortunately going to be fading my boy, but it's business.
What about co-main event? We got Alex Bejeda moving on up to light heavyweight, just coming off that knockout loss to Stylebender, taking on a guy that Stylebender's used familiar with Jan Blachowicz. Polish Power, Bejeda going up to 205. Where do you think this one lies, Feezy?
I can't wait for this fight. This is probably one of the fights that I'm most intrigued about. I really hope Alex pulls it off. I think he can pull it off. We've been seeing him tease a lot of pictures where it's like saying he's grappling and he's doing jiu-jitsu and things like that. I think what's going to happen here is Polish Power is going to kind of have an ego battle with himself. And I don't think he's going to start grappling right away, in my opinion. We saw what he was able to do with Izzy and kind of hold his own when it comes to that. But I think Izzy and Alex are totally two different fighters in terms of just like the pressure and the aggressiveness that they come. So if he comes out there the first round trying to stand with Alex and not try to take him down right away and tire him out, I'm pretty sure he's going to sleep him. So that's something I'm hoping for. It could be a long wrestling night, grappling night for him. But I think he's going to have an ego check on himself, and he's going to stand with Alex, and that's not going to end well. We already saw what happened to Strickland.
All right, boys, I see you're Pereira, and I raise you a Pereira. Michelle Pereira takes on Wonderboy Thompson that night also. This card is completely stacked. Feezy, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about future champions, and this guy you're talking to right now, Brendan Tobin, said he thinks Wonderboy is going to be a champion again. Is that ridiculous?
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. I'm sorry.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Hold on. That's not fair. You're not bringing context into it.
Lead it up, yeah. You must have a lead up.
First,
if the right matchups are made, I can see it.
Defend yourself, sir.
First of all, he says like this was 2 weeks ago. We had to do this for our New Year's Eve episode, and I had just come off of seeing Holland versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson live. And I was just saying, Feezy, like, Wonderboy, if Leon, it was at the time when Leon Edwards hadn't retained against Kamaru, but I said if he beat Kamaru, Leon Edwards versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is a fun fight. And I feel like Wonderboy could win that fight. So I don't know what the route was, if it could have gotten there, but if it could get there, the dude's got a chance. And weird stuff happens in MMA. Colby Covington, you never know. Is he going to fight? Is he not going to fight? I was like, all right, we know what the easy ones are. Let's throw a Hail Mary on this one. And I feel like a Leon Edwards versus Wonderboy Thompson. Let's say Wonderboy Thompson does something crazy, like wheel kicks Bejeda off into the stands or something like that. That guy's established enough. I think that'd be a fun fight.
It'll be hard to not give him at least a title contention fight if that were to happen. But we all know how that Holland fight went. That wasn't a 100% serious fight, in my opinion. I was watching it live also, and there was moments there where I'm
weird.
like, man, you have him hurt. Put him away, and he didn't. I think that's what Wonderboy's been running into, and that's why he's had like the run that he's been having recently, because he's fighting against guys that either A, give him a lot of respect and they don't want to kind of like stay in exchange with him, or a guy like Holland that just wants to be a fan favorite and kind of just like put on a show. But next week, Michael is going to come out there and try to finish him because, like I said, he's a big name. You put away Wonderboy, that puts you up there in talks to fight some pretty tough guys. And Michael's really good at just being aggressive and just throwing some crazy shots that are just unorthodox. That's what I'm expecting here. I thought Kevin was going to be able to be that guy to give me that knockout cash, but he just didn't take that fight seriously.
Feezy, let's talk about a guy that actually has a chance to fight for the belt, Khamzat Chimaev. His next fight finally announced versus Paulo Costa. Now, at BetMGM, Khamzat's a huge favorite, minus 360. You can get Paulo Costa at almost 3-1 money. Any chance Paulo Costa could take out Khamzat Chimaev?
I don't think so. You know, guys like Costa, they do a lot outside of the octagon, if you guys get what I'm saying. You know, when you're facing a guy like Chimaev, you got to be locked in because he is going to make you work. If you're not prepared at all to go all the rounds you need to go and have this guy pressuring you constantly with the takedowns, it's going to be a long night. And I just don't see how, with all the issues he's been having with like the UFC lately, which it looks like from the outside looking in, having issues booking him with fights and them announcing fights that he hasn't even signed a contract for. Like, all those are little games that I think that if you're leading up to a fight, especially in Abu Dhabi against Chimaev, you can't have those distractions. And I think it's going to be an easy win for Chimaev.
For that, Feezy, do you think for that one with Chimaev, like, what is the biggest question that you have with him going into this, now that we know that he is going to middleweight? Like, is it cardio? Is it, you know, is it just the power contact, how he can grapple with guys? Like, what's the biggest thing that you're going to look at this matchup with Khamzat and say, like, all right, this is the thing I need answered about?
For me, it's the cardio, you know, because I know you guys remember he was actually facing like some COVID issues. So I don't think a lot of people took that into consideration when he fought Burns. You know, like if he was dealing with those health problems and he was still able to perform in a war like he did with Burns, I want to see if he could do that at 185 with the weight gain. I want to just know what's his correct division, 170 or 185. Like, was he draining himself to get to 170 and it was just one of those things where he just wanted to stay active and that's why he gassed out? Or is 185 just him being lazy and not wanting to do that cut and he gasses out even quicker at 185? That's what I want to see. As long as he could prove to me that he could keep up that pace throughout the entire match, the potential it's limitless for him.
That is Feezy F, baby. You can follow him on Twitter at Feezy F, baby, _ MMA handicapper over at Parlay Bandits. Great stuff, my friend, as always. Coming up next, man, it might be the best fight night. If you're just a fight fan, right? If you like boxing, if you like mixed martial arts, Spence Crawford, Dustin Justin, and an entire stacked night of cards. Let's break it down coming up next. Keep it right here. You're locked into the BetQL Network.